To Sleepover at the house of Mario, and today we've got a very special guest, Alex Harding. Alex, thank you very much for sleeping over. It's nice to have your company here.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I didn't realize it was a sleepover. I would have brought my robe and would have done everything. I had my sleeping bag, but you're gonna have to deal with the hoodie.
Yeah, I did put this on you that you're sleeping over tonight. You know, your mum's dropped you off. She's not coming back. This wasn't just a bit of a play date. This was a full-on sleepover. So I hope you've got your, your 3DS charged. I hope you've got all the controllers that you need for the night because we're pulling an all-nighter. We're gonna do a dungeon in Twilight Princess. We're going to get 120 stars in Mario 64. We're doing the full rounds tonight, mate. Don't you worry about that.
I'm honestly more concerned that my mum drove me. She doesn't have a license.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, she did a great job getting you there. You're alive.
Thanks, Mum.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mum. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mum.
Always a
Good on
trooper.
you, mate. I asked you to come on the show because I was really excited for you because you're going full time with your business, the INDIEXP, EXP. So yeah, I'm really interested to talk to you about that. But to start things off, I've thrown you in the deep end with this as well. But since we're having a sleepover, what's one of your most just cherished sleepover memories? Whether it's gaming related or not, you could have been out in the swamp with Shrek, having a nice sleepover at whatever they call his swamp, Shrek Swamp, or it could have been at a good friend's house, playing some video games. Because I've certainly got plenty. That's where a lot of my Pokemon memories and that come from. But what's some of yours? Even though I'm throwing you straight in the deep end.
It is straight into the deep end.
Yeah,
Straight into Shrek Swamp.
Yeah, straight in the Shrek Swamp. I was meant to prep you for this. I got to be honest, but
Didn't check the Google Doc beforehand.
No, I didn't have a Google Doc. We didn't even get that far.
Oof. All right. When you ask me this question, two probably come to mind. One's probably a good memory, one's not as good, but it's hilarious all the same. First one, I'll start with a bad one. That one would have been the night a friend of mine were wrestling. We were probably about 9 years old. We had the mattress down. You had the ropes around the outside, so we're doing like the whole shebang and everything. Yeah. And then I, climbed up on the turnbuckle, went to do I don't even know what it's called anymore. Anyways, like you put your legs out, and you're kind of like at a right angle, and you're supposed to, bang your legs on their head. But I think I kind of missed. I missed the mattress and fractured my coccyx bone.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right.
Yeah, that was. I mean, this is a bad one. So the other one's considerably better than that. But yeah, that's probably the first one that comes to mind. I don't know why, now that I think about it.
Yeah, the bad ones come to memory first. I had a memory where I were kicking the football outside and kicked it a bit too hard and it went onto the road and just smack bam into a car. And the car just screeched on its brakes. Like, oh shit. So we ran inside and my God, my mate's dad gave us a bloody hiding, I'll tell you that. I don't blame him. I dare say there's going to be a few times in my day where I've got to give some kids some hiding when they come over and stay over. But
yeah.
Yeah.
If they're anything like yourself and running in front of cars, that's for sure.
No, I didn't run in front of a car. I kicked the football onto the road, and it hit the car. The football hit the car.
Oh, the ball hit the car. Okay.
Yeah, no. If I ran into the road and that happened to me, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh dear.
I was surprised the adult hit you. Honestly, you've already been hit. That's what I thought.
He finished the job. Yeah.
It's like double kick. The good one though, it would have to be probably. I was a teenager at this point, but a few me and a few mates, we hung out at high school all the time, and Super Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64, 5 hours straight. That's it. You just can't go wrong. It was just 5 hours of Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, like Smash nights, they just go so fast. I had just great memories of playing my friends' 64s as well. I didn't have a 64 to myself, so when it was a friend's sleepover, it's like, all right, mate, I'm getting my time out of your consoles. I'm gonna play some of these games, especially stuff like Smash and that. It was so easy to come back to. It's just so much fun.
Did you get the colored controller?
I can't remember. I think he only had colored controllers. I don't know if he had grey controllers. He's one of those boys.
He was a rich kid.
Yeah, it must have been.
Ooh, fancy.
Well, this was Nintendo 64 when, right in the heyday of GameCube and PlayStation 2. So, I'm not quite sure when he got it or whatever. But yes, I remember. I think he had green and maybe red.
And good colors.
Controllers, yeah, no, good, excellent colors.
Got the tick from me.
Yeah, it's a
I like
shame
it.
now that you can't get the colored Switch controllers for NSO, but you got to get the grey one.
Yeah, I do have that one, but yeah, I was disappointed. I mean, just whenever it's available as well.
Yeah,
I was one of the first persons to get it, but it's rarely available, that controller anyway. So
yeah. I see that
here
it
we
just
are.
came back in stock maybe yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
I got one, but at first I wasn't all that worried about getting it because I wasn't. Oh well, I'm not going to be playing Nintendo 64 games right now. But when I did get the itch, I'm like, I can't get one. Oh well. So it took a long time to get one, but it's so cool having just a little wireless one.
Yeah. Well, then there's me who bought one straight away and has never used it. So it's just
Did
been
you at least
sitting
take it
there.
out of the box?
I took it out of the box because, of course, I did. I have a drawer full of 100 unpacked amiibos.
Yeah, I don't have
I open
100
up whatever.
unpacked amiibos, but I got to the point where I'm like, I'm not using them, and I kind of like the look of them in the box anyway. So
Yeah.
I've I just kept them all. Oh my god, it's getting a bit much. The other day I when I was going to like finish the last segment of Tears of the Kingdom, I'm like, all right, I need some items. So I go into the top drawer, get out the amiibo box, and just
Yep.
sit on the couch, scan, just like chucking these amiibos into a pile, just getting meat and wheat and God
Very
knows what.
nice. I need to do that myself. I'm the best. My favorite amiibo, the one I'm most proud of, is the Box Boy amiibo.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I would be too. I never got that one.
It was only for 1 week,
Mm.
limited edition on Nintendo Australia's eBay account.
Yeah,
Very happy about that one.
yeah. So if you've got one of them, you know that you're actually dedicated to the craft. Because I was never meant to get so many amiibo. I just said to myself, look, I'll get the characters that I like.
Yeah.
I got Mario, I got, the characters when it first launched. Then I realized I like a lot of Nintendo characters.
Funny that.
In fact, I probably like them all. I think I only missed out on like a few that I didn't really like, but
The guy
like
who
I
has a
didn't.
Nintendo podcast likes Nintendo characters.
Yeah, I was like,
Who'd
well,
have thunk it?
yeah, I was like looking at all the Fire Emblem characters. I'm like, I actually kind of like them all. Or all the especially like the Mario characters from the Pokemon and
Yeah.
Zelda characters. Oh shit, it's really cool having Twilight Princess Link and oh look, Ocarina of Time Link. Oh, Majora's Mask Links. Oh Christ, I'm quite fond of everything. Christ, this is
And you
this
can't
plan's
forget the 8-bit
backfiring.
Link.
Yeah, I don't think I got that one.
Ooh, that one's my favorite.
I did I did get to a point where I just had enough plastic, but now with like Tears of the Kingdom ones coming out, like definitely getting them. With Zelda and Ganondorf.
Yep, they look good.
But we're pretty safe now.
I stopped at Banjo-Kazooie. That was the last one I got.
Wasn't that long ago, really?
No, a couple of years. I think a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. But it got to a certain point where I'd moved house like 3 times in a year, and I'm just like, never again.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you like a physical game collector, or do you just download your games, just buy them on the eShop?
Very recently, I've switched over to digital.
Right.
I used to be physical collector. Now I download them or I buy them and then finish them and sell them. I've been doing that a lot recently, but that's only with the games that I'll never replay. So your Octopath Traveler, your Bayonetta 3, games like that.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. Because I was just thinking, like you said, you move that many times, and you're sick of packing stuff up. Like physical games, I like getting physical games, but when I'm not playing them, they're just in the cupboard. They're not doing much. I'd rather just have them, especially on Switch. I just want them downloaded on my Switch, put it in my pocket, and away we go. I got a terabyte card, so I can fit a lot of them. I actually can't fit my whole collection at the moment. I've exceeded the terabyte card, so
got to get onto archiving. I love that feature.
That's great.
It's still on your homepage, so you still don't forget about it, but you just archive it and save it for later.
It's there just for your OCD.
Yeah. Oh yeah. About 96% of my library is archives.
Yeah. It's like you've got it downloaded and you may never get to it. Actually, statistically you probably will never play it, but
no, well that's it. More games come out than we tend to get to. And I've been loving Game Pass recently, going through that whole collection, and I realize more games get added than I actually play.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. And now I'm working from home for the most part. And here I am at my desk. And then right next to me in the next room is my TV and my Xbox. And just like, it's not good. It's not good.
It's just ridiculous how many games I have access to. Like, I buy a lot. and I keep up with all the Nintendo releases. And then there's Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Deluxe, which I've got so many games across both services I really want to play. Then I've got my Steam library, which has been, sitting there dormant from previous Steam sales in the past. So just the amount of games you've access to, you've really got to sort of like sit down and think to yourself, all right, I want to and I will play and finish this. Like you've got to sort of manage yourself a little bit. And I've been good at it this year. Like I've played like plenty of games and played them all the way through. But in the past, it's just, you get sort of just sort of stuck. Like, oh, what do I play? Oh, I'll play nothing. And you just, it's such a first world problem.
It is. I mean,
yeah.
talking about, going back to OCD mode, I actually created a spreadsheet for all of my games.
Yeah.
So I have them all laid out, and then I've got next to them the Metacritic score, the how long to beat, and how I have them, whether that's Game Pass or whatever. And if it's Game Pass, I say when the game came to the system, when it came to Game Pass, so I know for 12 months later down the track, when it gets to that, they might leave. So it's like, I'm going to play every game. I don't know how, but I'm going to play them all. I'm going to make it work.
Yeah. Well, spoilers, you might not make it all work. Yeah. I haven't done the spreadsheets, but I do pick say 5 games I want to play. And I use an app called GG that you can leave reviews and sort of organize your library and leave lists and all that type of thing. So I add, say, about 5 games, no more than 10 at max, to my now playing, and then I pick and choose sort of between the games from there. So I've got a small pool instead of looking at 50 games where I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
I look at, say, 5 games where I'm like, all right, I'm in the mood for this because it's shorter, or I'm in the mood for this because it's a genre that I'm sort of craving at the moment. And that's how I sort of work things. But the last month's been a bit of a... I've been really good this year, but the last month's been a bit of a dry zone as far as gaming goes. I just haven't really been in the mood for it. I think it's just this time of year. It's winter time and it gets dark at 5 o'clock. So even now we're recording at 8 o'clock at night, and it's it feels like it's about midnight.
Yeah,
well, I've been going to bed probably 9 o'clock each night.
I think you're not alone in that, honestly.
Yeah,
I've been definitely been feeling tired, more so, and then I go to bed and I get my Switch out, play some Tears of the Kingdom, and then 20 minutes later I'm feeling tired. I'm knocked out by 10:30.
Yeah, see, is this an adult thing or is this don't know, because this used to be my favorite time of year, and now it's just it's cold, it's miserable. I want it to be warmer. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in 8 months, I'm pushing 30, so it's all downhill from there.
I just turned 29 in June, so I've got the last year left. So
enjoy it. Enjoy it, because after that, it's all going to be butterscotch candies, packets, tissue packets in your back pocket, and 8:30 bedtime.
Yeah, well, it's not that. Well, it's definitely not that far away. Because I can feel it already, so I believe it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, what have you been playing the last couple of weeks? Been playing many games?
Well, I mean, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, but I'm
of course
probably not as far into it as you. Honestly, I think I've done 2 of the main quests. I checked it the other week, and I was about 55 hours in, so I'm probably about 60 to 70 hours in at this point. About half the shrines, which is a decent effort considering the amount of time I have for myself. But yeah, other than that, so I've been playing. I love the Yakuza games. If you've ever booted one of them up,
yeah, that is a series that I'm like, I want to play, but I haven't.
So good.
I think it's right up my alley too.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't expect to fall in love with it like I did. And it's just so ridiculous. It goes crazy ridiculous. And then you're like, okay, I'm done with side stories. I'm just going to go follow the main story. And then it hits real deep. It just gets real serious.
Which one did you start off with? Because I'm keen to sort of decide which one to jump into.
So I started with Kiwami, which is Yakuza 1. And then I learned that was a mistake.
Okay.
So you're better off starting with Yakuza 0.
0, yeah, okay. That's what I've heard.
Because without spoiling things, there's a main character who, he kind of goes a bit left field. And when you play Yakuza 0, after that, it feels a bit strange. because you
Right,
don't really know
okay.
how to feel about him. That's all I'll say
Mm,
on that. So yeah, Yakuza 0, start with that one, then Kiwami afterwards.
Yeah, nice. Now I'm keen to give it a go. I've got well, like I said, with Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, all the Yakuza games are on both. So I've got all the options, and I've got I actually picked up the ROG Ally, the little handheld PC.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah, no, it's nice, man. You can see it's all smudged, but it's yeah, very, very nice. I haven't played a whole lot on it. Just like I said, I got it, and I haven't really been playing games just in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, keen just to play some Game Pass stuff. So that's definitely one I want to download on there.
Yeah, I've been like, that's the only reason why I would get that, honestly, is for Game Pass and just
Yeah,
have everything like a Switch.
that's sort of why I got this instead of a just like hunted down a Steam Deck,
Mm.
because I think a Steam Deck is a lot more convenient as a portable.
Yeah.
Because this is just literally a laptop, just with a controller bolted onto each side of the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, running on Windows, so you can use Game Pass and all of the launchers, just a lot more flexible as far as what games you can play.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, what are you thinking of Tears of the Kingdom? Obviously, you've played it a lot. I've finished it. I played it for about 75 hours in
Yep.
in 2 weeks, and then I I just fell off gaming in general. But yeah, I loved it. I think it's one of my favorite games of all time. So I quite liked it.
honestly, I'd agree. I don't think I'd be able to go back to Breath of the Wild anymore, because it's like with the the ascend ability and being able to with the sky towers and everything. I don't think I'd be able to go back to Breath of the Wild with that. And it's so sad, because Breath of the Wild was considered the one of the best games ever made, and then Nintendo were like, hold my beer, and let's do this again. And they knocked it out of the park. Like they reiterated, or no, they revolutionized a genre that they recently had revolutionized. Like, and I feel like only Nintendo can do that at this
Yeah, for
stage.
sure. Yeah.
It still has the same issues where, like, I am running around, the world and just be like, I don't know what to do other than the main quests. And I know I can finish this game in like 10 to 15 hours if I wanted to. But
You'd be pushing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be good at it too, because you wouldn't be able to take the time to do shrines and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you got to go in with like 4 hearts and fight Ganon. But I reckon I'm slowing down with it. I'm doing some of the side adventures now, where you've got I don't know, that big seagull dude at the stables, doing all those quests, and just trying to, I reckon, probably another 10 to 15 hours of that, and then I'll knock out the story.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, when you get to the point in the story, you'll just be blown back. You'll love it.
Yeah. I've heard fantastic things about it.
Yeah. Have you, no spoilers, but have you uncovered all of the, I guess, the memories?
The tears? Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no spoilers. I won't say anything for anyone listening, but and I like the way it was done. Especially, I didn't. Probably my only issue with the tears were that you would piece together the story. So you would be, your first one that you'd find, well, after Impa, and you would be, it'd be like story beat number 12, and then story beat number 5, and it's just like trying to piece it all together, and it is chronological, so it is a bit odd.
I come across a memory that I was like, it's kind of a spoiler in some ways, because you didn't get that lead up to it.
Yeah.
But once I did them all, I sort of thought to myself, no, it's actually kind of cool, because not many games you sort of get in this way, where you can sort of see something just completely on your own terms and sort of work out what led up to that, or you could do it in order, and then you get the more traditional linear sort of story as well. So I kind of liked how it worked out. And there was a way, like the game, when it shows you the map with Impa, it does say like, hey, look, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're that concerned about it, you can sort of do it. But I didn't actually notice that it had it numbered. Like, I took a screenshot on the Switch and I was referring back to that, but for some reason I never noticed that they were numbered. I was only talking to someone, like having this conversation with somebody afterwards, and I said, oh, well, it does actually, label it out for you. I'm like, oh, never noticed. There you go.
I had to interrupt. I live in the city and I'm on the second floor, and my partner has just come home and forgot her keys. So I have to go get my keys and then go back here and drop it down the balcony. I'll be 2 seconds.
No, all good, all good.
What do you say?
I'll do a bit of vanting here. So yeah, really excited that Alex is here. He's a great guy. Cannot wait to talk to him about the Indie EXP. He's been doing an absolutely fantastic job over there with his business, and he's gone. I don't know if you can still hear me or not. Can you still hear me, Alex?
I can still hear.
Oh, there you go. I just hear his phone doing a little bubble thing. And usually, when you're getting those bubbles, that bubble sound, sometimes that means you're in trouble, especially from your missus. Maybe he is. Maybe
No
fact
trouble.
that no trouble. It's all good.
I'm
Everyone's the situation's
Situation
solved.
is under control.
Yeah, you did that very
He
quick.
is-
I'm very impressed. I thought you would have to have a couple of minutes up and down or whatever.
Nah.
But
Oh no, I didn't go up and down. I went to the balcony and dropped the keys down.
I gotcha.
So she's like there in the middle of the road, just like, like that.
No, what you should have done is said, "Hey, babe, I'm on a podcast at the moment. Wait an hour or so."
Just go to Macca's. Just go to Hindley Street Macca's.
Hindley Street Macca's. Yeah, stay there for a little bit. Sure, that'll be
you'll be
nice and
fine.
safe for you.
Yeah, that's where I go. Where do you go?
I don't. Well, I'm pretty far away from Hindley Street Macca's, so
Fair.
yeah,
Well, it's always there. It's always there if you need it.
it is. It's a nice little safe refuge for people who don't have their keys.
Oh god.
Yeah. So, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, you're enjoying it.
Definitely. Yeah. I know Pikmin 4 is coming up next.
It is.
I haven't played Pikmin 3 and I only dabbled in Pikmin 1.
Mhm.
So I do want to get into it because it's like the next one. But now that the direct just happened, I feel as though I can probably hold off on Pikmin until, Super Mario Bros. Wonder comes out. I'm gonna put this
Yeah,
phone on
right. So
silent.
you can hold off a while then.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Hmm.
you've got what? Game Pass and everything. So I've got all the Yakuza games to play.
Yeah, you're not just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, I guess.
Oh, no. Well,
Yeah.
I am twiddling my thumbs, but
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
thumbs on the sticks,
That's
keeping
it.
busy.
And, working. Got to do that as well,
Oh yeah, a bit of work here and there.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Now I'm keen for Pikmin 4. I don't have much experience with Pikmin either. I've been meaning to actually get Pikmin 1 and 2 loaded up onto the ROG until Nintendo announced that they dropped it on Switch. Oh well, that's great. I'll play them there, but time's running out until Pikmin 4, so I better hurry up because
Yeah, I kind of wish they dropped them a few months ago.
yeah, so they don't leave you much time.
No,
But
you might be all Pikmin out afterwards.
But at the same time, right in the fever of Tears of the Kingdom, when they just say, "Hey, here's Pikmin 1 and 2," everyone's just gonna be like,
Yeah.
"All right." So yeah, just go away. Don't even talk to me, please. So yeah, I'm actually, like I said at the start of the show, and when I was messaging you, really keen to talk about your big move with the Indie EXP, and you're going full time with the business. So just for those that don't know, what is the Indie EXP, and what do you do?
Sorry, I've got a fly buzzing around. He's gone. The INDIEXP, it's a little marketing business I started. So I've been doing, you probably remembered me from last time I was on here. I was doing Switchaboo, which I still am. But that was gaming journalism, reviews, all that kind of stuff. And then I'd be on PR press lists and all this and hearing things from publishers. And I realized that some do PR quite well and some do not. And when you're on Twitter a lot and when you're on social media a lot, you talk to a lot of indie developers and, they're always, a lot of them are, fantastic, but some of them have fantastic games, but just don't know how to do their marketing, or they just rely on, or they just, hire a PR agency and hope for the best. But they do no marketing, for themselves, no socials, or it could be the other way around. They only do socials and they don't think about all the other marketing stuff. So I thought, why not? I'll give it a go. I'll try it myself, and went to a few networking events here in Adelaide, and found a couple of developers, and I knew a few developers from my Switchaboo days as well. So yeah, got a couple of clients off the get go. Went pretty well, I would say. So I've launched 4 games now, I believe 4. Yeah, 4. And that's been fantastic. 2 on Switch, all 4 came to Steam. 1 VR game as well, which was a very interesting experience. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I've just been learning marketing. Went back to uni, started studying again, and now I've decided to go full time with it. So I was only working part time, so I was only it wasn't like I was bringing in the big bucks, and it's a huge change. It's going to be quite similar, but going to have more time to put some more effort into these campaigns, and also looking for more clients and doing my website up as well, because that's another huge step. So it's all happening, getting a lot more traction, but terrified, absolutely terrified at the
Yeah,
same time.
I bet. Because I saw the news in the Nintendovania Discord, and whenever I see anybody just make huge steps to chase their passions, I'm just always so excited by it, and I'm just so proud of you for taking the initiative for really trying and going for it, and I wish you all the success in the world. I think it's going to be
Thanks, man.
I think it's going to be really great for you. But what sort of made you like take the step? Was it like, oh look, I've got a couple of clients and I can sort of see it working out now, and what was sort of that momentum did you have to make this step?
It'd be a combination of that and this absolute horrendous day I had at work as
Okay.
well.
Yes. Yep. That's a good motivator.
And that always helps. You're sitting in because I was doing marketing as well for my part-time job, but more SEO content focused. But yeah, I was doing that. I was in a meeting room, was not prepared for it. I got absolutely drilled in that meeting room. And just real awkward silences, and went back to my desk and was just like completely deflated, and a few other details which I won't go into. But all in all, it was just pretty much just like, I just wanted to go home, sit on my desk, like sit on my chair, in front of my desk, and just do the work that I actually cared about. Because I've never worked a full-time job in my life. But I don't think I've ever worked a week under 50 hours before.
Yeah.
So it's always like I'm always doing something else. And it's always to do with games. It's always to do with video games in one form or another, whether that's Switchaboo or the INDIEXP or something else. But this one's actually one that I'm most excited about, and that in itself was another kicker to be able to push me across that line and take that next step to going full time.
Yeah, there's no better motivator than fuck this. Let's do something a bit better, especially like you said, you're 30 and coming up soon. So, we've got to start making sort of decisions to try and set ourselves up a bit.
Yeah,
for
and
the future.
The bank won't accept me for a home loan, but who can buy a house right now? So I don't have to worry about that for years. I'm fine.
Yeah, buying a house in the city, they might not accept many people. How it's going at the moment.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's really cool that it's sort of basically combining two of your passions, like your professional work as well as just your love of games, and being able to talk directly to the creators and being able to help them as well, market it and publish their game. Because I can imagine like developing a game, you just got you no idea about marketing, and even if you did, it takes up so much time. Like it's a full-time job, for you. Yeah. So you can only imagine for someone like who it isn't like their passion or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Some developers do know quite a bit about marketing, and they watch GDC YouTube videos, or they just have a background in marketing. And even they say like sometimes we just need someone to take charge of it because we just don't have the time. Like there was a recent GDC lecture where she was talking about your 1 hour a day marketing plan, and it was on Monday you do you put content together. On Tuesday you reach out to developers to reach out to content creators and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's quite easy to say, but like that's still 1 hour a day. That takes away from all the time in development, or perhaps you could fix this bug or improve this mechanic, or a lot of indie developers are bootstrapping as well, so they're working part-time or full-time jobs and then coming home and developing their game, and then you're still telling them to take an additional hour a day to do marketing. It's just like you just don't have that time. And I started the INDIEXP knowing that my clients would not particularly have that spare income and whatnot as well. So it's been, I guess, the first year and a half when I first started the INDIEXP, I needed to really think about how I would work and how that pricing structure would work. And it's been hard, and it's a lot of work, like working with multiple developers, because I can't get hired by one developer and that's it, like one development team. Like I have to work with multiple clients, and I'm just one person as well. But I'm full time, and that's kind of why it's very time intensive. But I wouldn't do anything else, I don't think, at this stage. So no complaints.
I can imagine for like these creatives, like you come home and you're doing what you're doing because you love it, but you don't have the money to put into marketing, or your money's going into tools, or things like that to like go directly into the game. And in some ways I can relate even to like my little old tiny podcast here, where it's like you get home, you do the thing, but you don't have time to really muck around with the Facebook posts and all of that stuff, and let alone getting help from an editor or something where you got to start somewhere, I guess. Got to get the ball rolling, but yeah, it is a more difficult thing. So I can imagine for you, like the people you are targeting, you're obviously not going to target AAA games where they've got massive budgets and they can pay very handsomely. Your clients are very much people who are like, look, we need a hand, but my pockets aren't that deep right now. So I can imagine it's an interesting sort of thing to balance, to try and work that out so you can continue to do this.
Well, I've learned a lot about how developers get their funding, and it's either a combination of their own money, based on their part-time or full-time work, and grants, or publishers. And that's, if that comes around. But I imagine if they get a publisher, they probably wouldn't need me. But if they, grants are the other thing, and there's this governing body called Screen Australia, if you've heard of them. But they're kind of offshoot from South Australian Film Corporation as well. But they have government grants are about $150,000, up to $150,000 for a team. And I think they had last time about 400 applicants all across Australia. And then about 50% of them were eligible, because they showed they have, the business set up and yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. And then 10 of them got a grant.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And that was, that, like the recent announcement that I helped do for a developer called Two Lives Left in the recent game Punchimals. Got the shout out there. Got the plug. They applied and they got their feedback saying, oh, I couldn't figure out how to punch. And then they just didn't do anything else with it. I'm just like, but you just click the button.
Yeah, one of the buttons does it, man.
Yeah. Just keep clicking them until you figure it out. But you can get turned down for something as simple as that. So it's very cutthroat. So basically, if they don't pick it up and it's not, something's not working, or, it's, I don't know, it's like a little bug, or, they just can't figure it out themselves, they just move on to the next one.
I assume they're gamers who actually like try and work that out. They'll actually pick up the controller or the keyboard and do that.
Some of them are.
Because otherwise, they probably wouldn't find the punch button.
Yeah, and I do find as well they're very story focused, because they are stemmed from the film industry as well. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Went to a whole meeting event around that, and just learning the ropes here in Australia. The government's been supporting game development a lot recently, like with grants and tax offsets and all that kind of stuff, which I only understand about 5% of whatever the hell they say. But I've learned a lot, and I feel as though now was the time to go all in on it and show that I can help some of these bigger ones that actually do get across the line, whilst not forgetting some of the smaller ones as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really interesting because you know I've heard a lot about sort of like the government's being pretty supportive of it, but it's interesting from like your perspective where you're like, all right, this is happening, so now that this might be the move because now developers are being sort of given the ability through the funds to actually access services that I am willing to offer. So that's actually a really interesting insight that I don't consider because I am not a marketer or anything like that in the game scene. But no, that's really cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
all I could say is definitely expect a lot more games out of Australia happening very soon, because a lot of games were being made, but they didn't have the funding or and then therefore the interest to actually see a full release. So all I'll say is definitely expect more games in the near future from Australia.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting because, well, it's been a long time since I've been to AvCon, but even in Adelaide, little old Adelaide, there's a really vibrant, game community that I always love going to the indie, what they call it, Indie Alley, no, something like that at AvCon. It's just interesting talking to like the developers there, and some of them are just like on their laptops in their spare bedroom. Some are a bit bigger with bigger teams, and yeah, it's just really interesting to see. So I'm actually really looking forward to going to AvCon again for the first time since COVID this year and seeing what they got.
When is AvCon?
It's the same weekend as Pikmin 4. So yeah, the 21st.
That's how you remember it. Gotcha.
Yeah. I was talking to Josh and I brought it up. He's like, "Yeah, Pikmin 4." I'm like, "Oh, it is too." So yeah, I've got my great mother-in-law's 80th birthday. Got Pikmin 4 and AvCon.
What a week!
What a week!
It's all happening.
Get on the beers with Nan, play some Pikmin 4, and watch some weeby anime.
The holy trifecta. That's what we love.
Not gonna lie, it's gonna be a pretty good weekend. I think I really do. Love going to that convention. A lot of fun.
Yeah. I haven't been in a while, and unfortunately, I won't be able to go this time. That's why I asked what the date is. But I'll be in Germany, so I can't really complain. So
because do you have like much interest in like doing like a lot of in-person stuff? I know at PAX you're very busy getting around, but like stuff like AvCon and that'll be great for the year afterwards for you to get to.
Yeah. I'll probably make a calendar for myself once I get back from my holiday and start full-time work, which will be 1st of August. So I'll probably put a calendar together, all these events that I can go to. There's like monthly developer meetup events as well. So I go to them and everything, and everyone's talking about development and codes, and they're making coding jokes. I'm just like, great, lovely. I understand none of this.
Yeah, it's just like, obviously you're a bit more in the industry, but like someone like me who's like just very much a gamer, get a bunch of people like me there, just be like, oh yes, I get it. Yes, the code,
C++ and the Python and the code and the textures.
Yeah, numbers are hilarious.
You can't forget those numbers.
You can't. You can't, but I will.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's all very interesting. Just with what you're doing, and I hope it all goes well for you. Especially, you got to pay for that Germany holiday by the sound of it. So when you get back, you'll be like, hey, any clients?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll be doing the networking. Like I said, I'll be doing my website up as well. So yeah, because if you go to my website now, which I'm telling you, please don't. It is absolutely horrendous right now. It's like literally like 4 lines of text and a picture of me from 8 years ago.
Oh, nice young man, eh? Look at that dashing young man on the website that I don't know the URL of.
I'll trust him. Why not? I'll trust him with my, with my life's project. But yeah, so like it's little things like that, getting everything established and making myself seem a bit more, professional. I actually know what I'm talking about. So that's the goal. Yeah. Half of it is convincing people that I know what I'm doing.
Absolutely. So I guess that, like, if somebody who is like, oh look, I've got this game, I actually do need some help. What do you actually do to help market the game and promote it to people that are hopefully going to buy it? What is like some of your process for actually, getting it out there for people to hopefully recognize the game and sell some copies?
It's a big question.
Massive question, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
just my whole job, yeah, just to
yeah.
answer the whole thing.
How do I boil 40 hours a week down into like into a 1 minute synopsis? But I mean, first off, I'll probably just look at the game and where it's at. So, they might be doing fantastic on socials, but that's not converting into wish lists, which might mean that I don't know, maybe their synopsis isn't very good, or maybe their Steam page isn't optimized, or maybe maybe their tags are not working, but or they might not be doing anything at all. And it's like, okay, let's pull back from the ground up. But the main thing, I suppose, is getting the groundwork set is what I like, because that's just the most important thing to start with, and that can take well over a month. That's pretty much what we did with Punchimals. So if you can have a look at what we did there, from the ground up, there was nothing. There was a small gameplay demo, and that was it. It was like version 3 point something, so very early in development. Basically, with that, I had a big chat with the developer and understood and put it into writing what the game was about and what were the unique selling points of the game. Put together pictures, a synopsis, screenshots, key arts, all that kind of stuff. Really built out the Steam page from the ground up, but then coupled that with social media, like setting up social media accounts, setting up a couple of weeks worth of posts and everything, and then also coupling that in on top of that with a press release, which goes out to hundreds and hundreds of press, like content creators, IGN, Kotaku, all those kind of ones. And that took time as well. Like that's a whole process to find those people and get their consent as well to be able to send them press releases. And then you got to build the email, and yeah, that like what you can probably tell is that there's a lot of facets to this,
Definitely.
and it doesn't just take it's not a 5 hour a week thing. It's not a 1 hour a day marketing plan. It's a full-time job, and you've got to know what you're doing as well. Like I've watched countless videos, taken courses where people have studied how people go through the Steam page. So only about 5 to 10% of people actually watch the trailer. Normally they'll just flick through the screenshots, read maybe the initial synopsis, look at a GIF, and then decide from there, because they'll know what they want, and they don't need to watch a trailer for that. And and that's another thing, keeping trailers as short as possible. Like some people think, oh, I made a 4-minute trailer and it shows all this and it's very carefully choreographed. I'm like, I can guarantee a huge amount of your audience has already dropped off 20 seconds in, because they're used to TikTok short, like in YouTube Shorts, and all of our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. So it's and I suppose that's another thing as well. Like my basics package comes with marketing advice. Like I'm just here if you have any questions for me, just ask me a question, and I'll look into things for you. But it's having someone there as well who keeps up with these kind of things and keeps up with the news, keeps up with different trends, and yeah. So half of it's education as well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, because you could imagine just like when I'm going through the eShop, there's so many games where I'm like, what is this? Like, just how much thought, I dare say, you and the developers that you work with, just every screenshot is just thought about for probably hours and hours. Each one of it goes up. What does this convey to the potential purchaser? And like especially on Steam, for example, when you're going through the trailers, their video player, like sometimes it just doesn't work that well, so it doesn't load. So you might be fighting against that on some pages as well. Like the eShop, for example, your game might come out that day, but it's so laggy that if it released, say, before the rest of the games that day, it'll be at the bottom of that day. So then you've got to scroll all the way to the bottom, and you might not be seen as much if you release like a little bit earlier. Like I could imagine just how much thought goes into each single platform that you're on. And
yeah, like even down to the little things. When we did going back to the screenshot example, like I with Punchimals, it's very early in development still, so it has one backdrop. It's a 2D fighting game, and it has one backdrop at the moment. And then cool stuff is happening, but they've only got 2 characters in, and they have different colors. They have different skins that you can do, but only 2 characters. So each screenshot has a different variation of the character, in different colors. And like one time you'll have the cat on this side and the crab on this side, but then they swapped on the other one and they're different colors. So it looks different and it looks like there's a lot of variety. Not to say the game won't have variety when it eventually comes out. It's just because it's so early in development, I had to kind of think about that and think about how I need to show off, so it's not, you've seen one screenshot, you've seen them all. And then, I had to show, there's a screen where if you knock out a character, if you win, it does like the slow motion kind of knockout. And it's really, really cool. But the screen kind of goes black as well. So like first screenshot was the main fighting, second screenshot was knockout, third screenshot was back to fighting, fourth screenshot was a character select screen. So it's like showing that it has that variety in that kind of way. And then going to the PR email, even just color coding things so that it's on brand for the game. So you're using the exact same colors, which is hilarious because I'm colorblind, but hex codes definitely help out with that. That's been my savior there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it also might sort of work for you as well, because when you look at other companies putting out games, you can sort of think behind the scenes of what the marketers for those games were thinking as well. Like, for example, with Nintendo, with Everybody 1-2 Switch, they just say, hey, look, this is the game. It's coming at the end of the month. Then on the eShop, no screenshots or anything, just like the main promotional image. So when you see that, you'll be like, what do you think when like a company like that puts out a game announcement like that? Do you think like, oh, this is a game for maybe more casual people, so it doesn't matter? Or are you thinking more along lines like, yeah, they're probably not too fussed about this game?
I mean, big companies like Nintendo are very calculated, especially Nintendo. Nintendo's an outlier, like in every possible way. You'd never know what to expect from them. Nintendo, to me, with all the years that I followed them from a journalist perspective, from a consumer perspective, it's always been, you can tell Nintendo knows what they're doing in some way or another. And everything is calculated for them, especially with the Nintendo Switch era. So I reckon the announcement for Everybody 1-2 Switch was very calculated.
Yeah.
And they did all of that for a reason. So, and it was probably 30 people sitting around a massive table, and all figuring it out, and all down to the tiniest little details. But from an outset perspective, it just kind of seems slapped together and lazily slapped together. But I reckon like they do know what they're doing, and a lot of the big companies do. Not all big companies do. Ironically, I get a lot of emails from really big developers and publishers, and honestly surprised at how little effort they go into some of their PR emails. But they kind of don't need to, in a way.
Yeah.
Because
I was going to say, yeah, do they just not have to try because it's FIFA or something like that, where they know it's going to sell? So like, yeah, it's FIFA and it's football and yeah, there's some teams. Yeah, whatever. You'll work it out when you pay us, Bunny. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. They have what's called brand salience, which is like the top of mind awareness. They already have that, and they're at these massive conferences and online showcases, and they're always going to be in it because and the really big indie publishers, but the really big ones, the Devolver Digital, the Curved Games, and Team 17, all those ones, they're all in this little bubble that is very, very hard to crack into. So it can be quite deflating for indie developers, if they don't get picked up by publishers, which not many do. Like a very, very small fraction get picked up by publishers. So you have to, it's very easy for developers to get deflated and feel like they're climbing a mountain. So just having, that was just kind of how I wanted to help in a lot of ways. And you see a lot of developers and they haven't posted on their social media accounts for like 2 years, but their game is completely changed. And if they kept doing updates throughout that period, their wish list would have climbed. And Steam doesn't show your game and like on launch all that much until you've got like 7 to 10,000 wish lists, which is a huge number for indie developers, and especially for a developer that hasn't posted in 2 years. It's like, where are you going to get those? And then you're just going to spend years working on this game. It's going to drop, and then it's just nothing's going to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah. It shows how important it is too, because even I'll probably have to keep this in mind just for my simple projects as well. But when like a game that came out a few months ago, Cassette Beast, so I've been following that game for years just on Twitter. I'm like, oh, it looks awesome. Obviously, very inspired by Pokemon, Persona, Earthbound, and just been following it on Twitter. And then it got picked up by Xbox Game Pass and became a pretty big success in that way. But it's important just to keep in people's minds, just like, oh, look, that strikes my eye. I'll keep up with that. And also, I think for the developers as well, it just makes them feel less lonely. You're not just sat at your computer, just like looking at your PC, just thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, what am I making this game? Is it even fun?
Yeah. Does anyone care?
Yeah, but if you take that time just to interact and get a community going, have a Discord open for people to come into, and then like stuff with like early access and that, you're actually able to get feedback directly from people that are interested at the start and hopefully make a big product and become the next Hades. That's everybody's dream. I could only imagine, but yeah, I think it's it's important, and it's great that you're doing such a you're putting yourself out there to just obviously follow your own passions, but also your business hopefully be helping people as well and help people discover brand new games. A game that you worked on or worked with, local in Adelaide, Rooftop Renegade.
Yes.
That's the last game I was in contact with you to play and all of that. And what was the sort of experience, from like beginning to end on games like Rooftop Renegade, where it is like, making contact all the way to launch and sort of the post support as well?
I mean, it was a bit surreal, to be honest. Like, because I met the creative director, Pat, back in 2019, back at PAX, and we both didn't know we were both from Adelaide. So that
cool.
was kind of funny. And then, we just chatted every now and then when he put up a demo. I did a thing on Switchaboo for him. And then, he was one of the first ones I contacted when, I started the business. And I'm actually very grateful that he decided to work with me, because he was one of the first developers I worked with. And that was a big 9-month campaign, where I took charge of their socials, did all the PR for them, helped out bits here and there. Some developers don't want someone else to work on, certain little aspects like trailers and all that kind of stuff. And that's completely fine. It's really up to them how much they want to utilize myself. But all in all, it was just a surreal experience, because it's like a 4-year story. And then I booted up the game, like, surreal that it's actually out and that I know the people, and I've had chats and had coffee with the peoples that have created this game, but also a very surreal experience that I'm actually in the credits.
Yeah, cool.
Like,
Yeah.
That's weird. That is very weird. I've been, you and me, we've been playing games for all our lives. And to actually see myself on my Nintendo Switch, going through the credits and seeing my name, the amount of times I've skipped through credits not thinking, or like, just, I finished the game, I'm just going to go to the bathroom because I needed a pee for like 20 minutes. But actually, like, looking through it and seeing my name in those credits was a very surreal experience. And then being there for, the launch, and being there for the celebrations, and being there for, like, seeing the anxiousness of the developers when announcements went out. So when the release date announcement, like, are people going to care? Then you put the launch announcement, are people going to care? And it's always that next thing that you think about, like, and it comes down to it. Are people going to care? And just seeing that anxiousness, knowing that developers are just very much like us. They're just behind a screen a little bit more than we are. And they don't really, some of them, not all of them, but some of them don't really, they're not as extroverted, and they just like to create their game, in their own pastime. But being there for not just the highs, some lows as well, because it's going to happen, but like being there when their game launches and they launched their first game, and like that excitement is quite a good feeling. It's quite fun to be along for that ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being a part of it, and I personally love sitting through the credits, especially through a game that I really enjoyed. Like, when I beat Tears of the Kingdom, I'm like, oh, who was involved in this? And the credits go on forever. Like, this is especially like when you play something like The Last of Us Part 2 or Zelda, or one of these massive games, like you just realize how many thousands of people worked on the games. Like, it's not just it's not just Anuma sitting in his office being like, oh, yes, I'm making a game, making a game, making a game. Oh, I'll put this there, that there. Oh, nice. That'll work well.
What if we can go through the roof?
Yeah, what if we go through the roof? Oh, look. And Miyamoto looks over. Yeah, nice idea, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Just Alt
just
control
click
space.
and drag that. Yeah, drag that file into the folder. You're done.
Made it in Game Maker Garage and Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
It's just easy as that. Yeah, no, it would have been an awesome just experience. Like, every time, I don't think that'll get old for you. Every time, you spend months and months or years working with a certain developer and you see all their hard work just come onto your screen, and especially if like your name's involved in that in any way, whether how big or small it is, yeah, it'll be an awesome feeling. Because I even get that feeling seeing friends' names on the screen, whether they're like writing or just a part of it, or even a special thanks or whatever. It's cool just to see people on there, let alone yourself. I was like, yes, this is my hard work, and they thanked me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And definitely when it comes from Adelaide as well.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing, because not much, you and I both know not much comes from here. We've got Hollow Knight, but like not much comes from Adelaide. So when something does come from Adelaide, that's a good feeling, and a lot more is happening around here as well. I mean, I've got a clients from WA that we're working on an announcement, which is quite exciting, and then I might have a clients from England. Touch wood. See how things go. But, so I'm not just in Adelaide, of course, but my home is always going to be here, and I'm always going to, have a chat to like be in those networking events in Adelaide. And it's always where my heart's going to be.
Yeah, you got like a certain pride, don't you? You're like Hollow Knight, like Silksong comes on the Xbox stage E3 last year. You're like, that's from Adelaide, that game.
Yeah.
Those
Straight
guys,
away.
Those guys live near me.
Yeah.
They're millionaires now. Yeah.
I actually do know where their office is, and it is right around the corner from my place, which is actually quite surreal.
It's the same in like whether it's from Melbourne or anywhere as well. It's just like it's wonderful to see, the Australian indie game scene like coming out pretty strong, and especially since like Team Bondi got dissolved years and years ago. It's nice to see it coming back in the indie space. It will never come back in the AAA space. It's way too expensive to make a AAA game now.
Yeah.
You can only imagine. You can imagine how expensive it would be to do a AAA game in Australia. It would be ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and
God,
we don't have very good. Even though the government has been doing more in terms of tax offsets and everything, we're still years and years behind like United States and Japan.
Yeah, in Canada, especially European countries, they're doing a lot of things there.
Yeah.
But you do sort of think to yourself, like, imagine if, like the tax, gave one of these big companies a break, like whether it's a 2K or whatever, it's like bring a company to Sydney or something. You can imagine just how many jobs and all that would open up in this field, which is kind of non-existent. We're losing so much talent to other countries when it comes to game design and software engineering and all of this stuff. It would be such a shame that people can't like really go, I want to be a game designer and aim to work at one of these bigger places, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to be like, all right, we're going to make a game, but it's going to be very focused and small, and it's going to take us 8 years to develop in our spare time.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I do wish that Australia had a bit more of a scene, but I think that's just Australia in general when it comes to a lot of things. It's just smaller population, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they have been doing more, and I mean they were behind the 8 ball from the beginning, so they're like 10 plus years behind in terms of putting in legislations and whatnot. But they have been doing more, and they're trying to catch up, but it's a very, very steep hill. And the fact that they're still, I mean, this is just my personal personal belief, but like the fact that they're still tied to Screen Australia because they don't think that gaming has enough of its own worth to be its own thing in its own government body. Like it's part of Screen Australia, which is all film. I think that kind of sends the wrong message, I suppose, or you've got people looking at this that might not fully understand what is special about video games. So yeah, I think we've got a lot of work to do in Australia.
Yeah, because like you said, they're focusing more on narrative, so stuff comes out a lot more of it as like it's less game, it's more interactive storytelling, where it is like a lot of mobile stuff where you're like just tapping and moving some stuff and then the story's progressing. Something like Florence or something like that, where it's like it's a game, quote unquote, but it's more or less just like a storytelling interactive experience where it would be cool to have like a body of people that actually do really understand games and want to see the medium really move forward just in all aspects, whether it is storytelling or just arcade fun, whatever. But yeah, it is sort of interesting because like at the same time, you don't necessarily want the government to interfere with the creative process, but games are just so expensive to make. So the average person cannot do it by themselves. So these grants are so important. But
yeah, exactly. Some developers make a small game that sells quite well. Like if they get lucky enough, and then they take that and then work on their bigger projects. So a lot of developers, they don't start with a like if you look at Matt Makes Games, which turned into a different name, but they're the ones behind Celeste, for example. Celeste was not their first game. They did Towerfall before that, and I think a couple of others before, and they had like a Pico version of Celeste, which you can actually play in Celeste, funnily enough. But they actually have a small version, and that was their first version of Celeste, which they released. And then, they took that and grew and grew. So stories like Celeste, stories like Hollow Knight, stories like Hades, like that wasn't Supergiant's first game either. They had made multiple games before then. So developers, it can take 3 to 5 years to make their first game, and then it sells okay, but it doesn't do what they're expecting, and then a lot of them can get disheartened, which I mean is understandable. But to really build a development studio and to build something that is long lasting, it's almost kind of like you've got to be well adept in branding as well, and like really building your company and building your brand and building what consumers will know your games are like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of steps to get right along the way. Like if you make a misstep financially, or just you don't learn the right skills that you need, because I could only imagine the amount of time and dedication it would take to actually learn the skills to do it in the first place. Yep. Whether you're doing it for fun or not, it'll take forever. So,
or launching a game that is buggy. If they launch a game and it's not quite optimized, but some developers, if they get grants or if they get financial support, they get contracted to release at a certain time, and they have to release at that time. And if that game launches and it's buggy, then that's a black mark next to their name. So developers will consumers will stop following them. They won't be excited about their next game. They'll get press that's very negative, and it's hard to pick yourself back up from that. So.
Yeah, I could only imagine how hard it'll be. Like we said at the very start of the show, we got that many games from Game Pass and PlayStation, and just buying them on Steam and on Switch and all of that. Like, just got so many options, and a game from an indie developer that you haven't heard of to really catch your attention and put your time and money into it. It's just and it's a sort of a big commitment to sort of get you away from Zelda, away from Street Fighter 6, away from Cyberpunk DLC coming out, and there's just Spider-Man 2, Mario Wonder. There's
they add up.
It's a massive job. But
Oh, sorry. I suppose last thing I can say on that is it's a bit of a cliche to point towards how many games release on Steam every year, but it grows. It's growing year on year. So I think it's about up to like 10 to 12,000 games per year, which translates to 30 games per day.
Yeah.
And then, if you're spending 3 years where 30,000 games have launched during that time and will continue to launch, what makes your game stand out? So a lot of developers, they might be very technically minded, but if you don't have that story in there, or you don't have something, eye-catching or something, it might not even sell to begin with.
Mm. And when you put it that way, that so many games coming out, so many games that don't have a sort of a presence online or whatever, just the potential for you to find clients is just massive. So it's just, it's up to you to find those people that align with your values, and hopefully, you'll kill it, man.
Yeah, it is up to me for a lot of things as well, and that is why when I get back, I'll be doing my website, and I've been posting on socials a little bit more, and so it's not this business decision. It's not just working on other people's games. I also have to find the time to do my own branding, which it takes a lot of time too. So I'm building like multiple communities at the same time, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm absolutely terrified, but that's fine.
Yeah, because you've got the perspective of the media side as well from Switchaboo. Do you have are you going to be spending the amount of time you've been spending in the past on the website, or are you going to step back a little bit, or you're still pretty good for time commitment to it?
I have stepped back a little bit from there. I'm still the editor, so I'm still getting all those emails and requesting codes and handling passing review codes to writers, and they write their reviews and then pass it back to me, and editing and uploading and all that kind of stuff. So it is still quite time consuming, but I review like probably 2 or 3 games a year now.
Yeah.
Where a couple of years ago it was 2 to 3 games a week. So it's I definitely
Jesus.
I was nuts back then. I had energy back then.
You're not 30 yet. You can't say that yet.
No. What have I got? 7 months. All right. I can't say that for 7 months.
Nah. You got to hold it until then. Oh, I'm so old now.
February
my knees. I can't game.
I can't stand up. I can't sit down for this long. What am I going to do? February 21st, 2024. You'll hear me complain a lot on that day.
Just lay down and stay down.
I fall and I can't get up. But excited, scared shitless, all of the emotions between. That's where I'm at right now.
I bet. I wish you all the luck, man. I hope it all works out for you. And if any of the games you're working on come to Switch, let me know. I'll be happy to give it a play. That's for sure.
Thanks, man. No, I appreciate it, and honestly, developers appreciate that too. Knowing that there are people that want to dive in and even just play their game. That's just a surreal experience to developers. So that honestly means a lot to them as well.
Yeah, because trying to keep up with like all the interesting games, it gets tough, especially for an individual. Let alone even outlets like Switchaboo or even the biggest ones like keeping up. There was a pretty relentless quote going around from IGN with the social media team, I think. Like, oh, look, if IGN doesn't review it, it's probably not good anyway, or something like that. It's like,
oof. And they only cover the AAA. They only cover the AAA games, and then the very occasional, indie game that blows up and has like a lot of clout on social media.
Yeah, the AAA indie games, they cover that, and
that's it. That's all they do.
Yeah,
I don't blame them. I don't blame them either. It takes like can't. No business can review 30 games a day.
No,
that's nuts.
Yeah, but maybe don't say it that way. Maybe don't say, look, if we haven't played it, it's probably shit anyway. So I could imagine a dev being like, oh, you didn't review my game. You saying my game's shit.
Yeah. Honestly, Rooftop Renegade didn't even it got 60 or 70 reviews, but it doesn't have a Metacritic score. And a lot of people are so focused, and especially developers and gamers, they're so focused on that Metacritic score, and if you don't have a Metacritic score, then obviously your game isn't important enough. No, it got a lot of reviews, but Metacritic is also very mainstream focused, so it only has a very, very select few critics that it deems worthy. And they're the big ones. They're Nintendo Lives, they're IGNs, they're GameSpots, and you can't just send a code their way and expect like it's not like a coin. You can't insert a code and then a review comes out. It doesn't work like that. So so Rooftop Renegade, as much interest as that had, PAX People's Choice winner was a big talking point for like 4 years from Adelaide and everything. That doesn't even have, and a PR campaign behind it. That doesn't even have a Metacritic score. It's one review off on the Xbox version. It's one review off.
All right. Yeah, that's really strange because you think like 60 reviews, that's a lot. And all of these outlets are verified for Metacritic. Like regardless of whether it's IGN or Nintendo Life or whoever, that's still 60 verified websites giving their thoughts.
The reviews, so it got 60 to 70 reviews, but not all of them are verified reviews. Not all of them are verified critics. So only a select few of them are verified critics.
Right. Okay.
And we didn't get enough of them. Even though we reached out to all of them, we still didn't get that much. And because it launched on all 4 platforms as well. So one of them might have, they review games on all systems, but they reviewed the PlayStation version. So we've got 3 Xbox reviews. It out, yeah. Exactly. We've got 3 Xbox reviews, like 2 PC reviews, 1 PlayStation review, and 3 Switch reviews, for example. I haven't checked in a while. But yeah, it's where if we combine them all together, we'd have a Metacritic score, but the site doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it makes it frustrating. All these little frustrations you run into, just be like, come on. Especially if you're behind a product, we're like, this is awesome. Like legitimately, like this is fun. You'll enjoy it. Yeah. It's
just like I'm a marketer, but I can't scream at people to play this game. Like it's not good marketing.
Just come and slap your podcasting friends in the face. Buy the bloody game. All right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I know like a bunch of streamers and podcasters and all that played Rooftop Renegade, but like obviously I'm not putting out a score or review on Metacritic or OpenCritic or anything. So it's tough because even if like Twitch is just lit ablaze, like, oh, this is awesome, you're still not going to get that score you can slap onto some marketing and do a trailer with and all that. But it sort of goes into just the whole thing of like review scores on games. It's a little bit toxic in some ways because you can imagine like the pressure it puts on developers and like even gamers being like, oh look, I think this was about an 8 out of 10. It's like it becomes yeah, exactly, based on what, like, and even some reviews you see like 6 out of 10, but some 6 out of 10s are like some of my favorite games because I don't like, obviously they got things wrong with them, but it doesn't really bother me so much. I can look past it and really enjoy it. Something that comes to mind is like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. They always got like 6 out of 10s. And I think I remember missing one of the games. So I'm like, oh, 6 out of 10, whatever. But playing like some of the DS games, I'm like, this is an awesome story. It's repetitive as hell, but I'm a kid. I got time. Like the reviewer who's an adult who wants to move on to the next thing, they're like, oh my God, 100th floor dungeon, cross, kill me now. But, it's a kid's game at the end of the day. And I think, I really enjoyed it. So it's in some ways, yeah, it's just
it's all subjective.
Yeah,
it's, like as someone who's been doing reviews for 6 years and manning a team that do reviews, it's all subjective at the end of the day. One reviewer that we have has never given a 10 out of 10. Like he's never given a 10 out of 10 to anything. His favorite game he still considers a 9 out of 10. Whereas other people are much more willing to give 10 out of 10s. Yeah, and like some people just have different understandings of what those numbers mean. It definitely changes your opinion when you meet the developer, when you go to PAX and you meet the developer and you interview them and then they give you a code afterwards. You're definitely more inclined to give them a higher score. And it's not on purpose, but it's more of a subconscious kind of thing where you have more of a nostalgic emotional tie to the creation of the game.
Yeah, for me, I think in like the very rare instance that sort of happened, it's more along the lines of you don't want to be mean, like if you're playing some random game on Steam, you're like, oh, this is shit. What the hell is this? What were they thinking? But if you played it at a convention and like you bought it off them or got a code, and you're like, well, I reckon this would be fun if they did this with this mechanic, or the graphics here are pretty terrible. So I'd like to see that. You would say it in a different way. You would say it more akin to maybe a a friend or someone. Like you wouldn't give them critical feedback. Whereas I think gamers sort of fall into they lose the humanity sometimes when it comes to especially big games.
Mm.
And I've got thoughts on some games where I'm like, oh my god, what were they thinking, type of thing. But you always keep in mind the people behind the screen, the people that are making that happen, and our hobby would not be able to happen without these just wonderful creative people that are putting themselves out there to do it in the first place. Whether it's just because they want to feed their family or because they really want to put an awesome game out there, that's up to them. But it's very important to remember.
And I'm of the mind that like probably over 99% of developers or anyone who's involved in making a game has the best intentions in mind. Like I can't imagine there's many developers out there who are passionate about what they do, spend years and years of studying and putting it into practice, and then think I'm just going to create an average game. Like I can't be bothered. I'm just like, yeah, just ship it out. It's fine. Like I imagine only the big companies that they're very money driven. They're very money focused. We have to get this game out by this quarter, so that we have this revenue stream, so we can appeal to our investors. It's that kind of thinking. But like, I can't imagine any developer or programmer or producer or anything is going to have negative intentions. They're always going to be optimistic. It's just some things are out of their control, or there could be a bug that they just didn't see in testing. And like, we're just human at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yes. No, it's but we've got to keep that in mind, because I know for me sometimes, like when something I really care about, I'm like, come on, what? Like, for example, Pokemon, that's what's coming to mind when I'm speaking about this. I'm like, what? But there's wonderful people who have just like made my favorite games throughout the years, in that building, doing the best they can, and whatever decisions are sort of, making the product what it is across the board. I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm not in the building. So it's important just to say, hey, look, this is the product. This is how I feel about it. I'd like to see it improved, but never take digs at people, because developers, especially on Twitter, the more upfront ones are sort of copying it, and it's disgusting to see. To be quite frank, I don't know. I don't talk to anyone like that. I hope I don't know. It's Twitter though, I guess.
That is Twitter. Twitter is a whole other thing I can go into, but let's not.
Yeah, especially the last couple of days. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Yeah, I saw you post about it too.
Yeah,
I think that's literally where I found out the news. Because my phone app, it just stopped working, and like I went to log in and it said you're already logged in. I'm like, oh, well, this made the decision very easy. So Twitter's off my phone.
Yep.
And I actually said, oh well, while I'm doing this, I got rid of Facebook and everything else. I got no social media on my phone. So if I want to do a post on Twitter, I've got to go to the laptop. So I'm not wasting time on it so much. So that made that easy. And seeing what Elon Musk is doing with like the limiting what you can see each day, I'm like, oh, you're doing me a favor there too, I guess.
Yep.
If I get stuck on it, you'll just say fuck off. I'm all right.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, and that's what I was thinking as well. Like this morning, partner and I got up and it was quite early. We had pancakes, we made coffee. It was great. And then I saw that on on my news feed, and I'm just like, now I'm rethinking so many things of so many marketing strategies I had in place.
Massive shake up to your job even. Yeah, of course.
I'm not even full time yet. That changes everything. Well, not everything. It changes a lot.
Because like, would you say Twitter would be the platform that you look at most? Because that's where I feel like a lot of gamers are. Like,
a lot of
gaming
gamers,
community,
especially indie gaming community, because they want to know. They're curious about the developers themselves. They want to see that personal story. But now we're rethinking that. And where does everyone else go? Have you ever looked at Mastodon? Like
I haven't looked at any of the alternatives. I only see like, hey, look, I know Twitter's gone to hell, so find me here. That's the only thing I know about these other places. But personally, if Twitter dies, I'm happy just to live my life. It's fine. I don't have to be on. I think Discord and stuff, keeping in touch with like people. I think that's better anyway, because they're actually talking to them. Yeah. But I don't know. No, I haven't looked into these other places yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mastodon is that's the one that most people are recommending, and I went on it, and it's just like there's these weird there's these weird server groups, so you can only post into specific servers,
right?
And it's like very codey, like very developer-y, And
it's probably not done.
yeah, honestly,
literally, yeah.
And it's probably freaking out with all the mass users coming over to it. It's probably like one guy in a tin shed trying to connect wires together, and he's like, what do I do? The world's going insane. Elon, stop.
Yeah, not much different to Twitter at the moment, though, to be fair.
True. Two guys in a room just connecting wires. Yeah, so it all changes, and having someone, that's the idea, having someone keeping up with all of that and trying to conduct strategies behind it. That's what I do.
Yeah, I'll be just really interested in a year's time of like, if you're talking to one of your clients, be like, all right, we need a good Mastodon strategy. What are we going to do? What servers do we need to be in? What are we going to be posting there? Because yeah, you have the TikToks going, you'll have the Instagram going, Twitter's just in flames. So like, oh look, don't have to worry about that too much. Yeah. No, I find all that stuff super interesting as well, because even every now and again I just like, because I'm no marketer, but I'm interested in the whole marketing thing. I think it's actually very interesting. Just like it's like psychology basically. Like it's like an aspect of that. So just sort of figuring out like, oh look, how do we get it out to people? That's why I'm enjoying this conversation so much. Just picking your brain about it.
Yeah, consumer behavior is very interesting, and I've done studies there. It's super fascinating. Consumer behavior and just like, I don't even know how to put it. Nah, we'll move on from that one. My brain's fried.
Yeah.
Just consumer behavior, psychology. It's very interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Very interesting.
Yeah, because they get to the point where you can just like brainwash people, play the game, please.
Like just chuck on Hypnotoad.
Yeah, the Hypnotoad from Futurama.
If only I could do that. But like, yeah, keeping up with like people's attention spans are just getting shorter and shorter, which is
tell me about it. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, and you have to play into that, and a lot of it's like just keeping up with algorithms, just trying to understand what Steam's doing, and like then there's like one update to their algorithm, and then the whole community flips out because like everything we had in place is like now completely different. So yeah, it's just keeping up with that as well. It's fascinating.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, since you said your brain was fried, I dare say better end the show. It's getting a bit late. No, I really do appreciate your time tonight, though, Alex. It's been a lot of fun picking your brain, and I wish you all the success in the world for your future endeavors. I'm sure you'll kill it.
Thanks, Drew. I appreciate that.
No,
Thank
no
you for
worries.
having me on as well.
No,
thank you
too
for
easy.
the sleepover. Like again,
yeah, of course.
tell me next time. I'll bring my robe. Make some popcorn.
Yeah, bring some snacks next time, mate. I'm bloody starving.
Yeah.
I didn't have any in the house either, so.
Well, you're hosting. Like, what is this?
Yeah, the bad host. Tell me about it.
Do I get the bad controller as well?
Yeah, I've got a controller. It doesn't even have a second stick. It's missing the left stick. You can't even move. You play Smash.
The A button doesn't push in.
No, I actually do have a couple of GameCube controllers that when I was taking, I think I was going to AFCON actually. I brought a bag of GameCube controllers and I had them in the same bag as my shampoo, and my shampoo went through them all. So now the buttons stick in. So you can use
so
those.
That one. Yeah.
Yep.
So you still have those controllers. You didn't actually throw them out.
No, I still got them.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Well, the intention was to open them up and clean them out and wash them, but
time passed.
Yeah, time passed and shampoo set, and yeah, I wonder how rusty and crap they are inside. God knows. Might be a good sight.
There's a future video right there.
Oh, good idea. So yeah, what would I call it? Fixing my fuck up. GameCube controller opening.
There you go.
Boom. Algorithm would love that title.
Oh.
YouTube's like, anything with fucking it. We'll just put it right out there.
Yeah. Top of the suggested page.
Just all my videos like, who gives a fuck? And I fucked up. But if there's any developers listening and like, oh, this guy sounds like a good bloke I'd like to hire. What socials, your website, all of that. I know you said you got to do your website. This won't go out for a couple of weeks. So there's a bit of a buffer there in case you need to do any corrections.
It won't be up by then. It's a big thing. Honestly, yeah, Twitter, even though it is a dumpster fire, that is still probably the best way to reach me. So just at the INDIEXP. So the INDIEXP. That's the best way I can say it. Or email me, alex@theindiexp.com. Just send me a message directly, and I check it every day, every hour, every minute. So yeah, I'll get back to you pretty quickly.
Beautiful. And if you're a big hot shot Twitch streamer or something like that, I'm sure he'll have some games that you want to send your way too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even if you're not big, even if you're not a hot shot, like 50 followers or 50,000 followers, it doesn't matter, honestly. We just like hearing from communities and everything.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining me. And everybody, the doors to the House of Mario, they're closed. It's time for us to go to sleep. Night, everyone. The House of Mario, a Nintendo podcast, is recorded in the southeast of South Australia. It is produced by me, Drew Agnew, and is supported by my kind and generous housemates at patreon.com/idrewby. Call in for my behind-the-scenes podcast, secret recordings, and heaps good. The South Aussie take on a conversational show with my good friend Josh of Nintendvania. A huge shout out to the legends who support me at the iDrewby Patreon Mega Feed tier or higher on Patreon, including Brendan Myers, Oliver Chaston, Samuel Hay, DJ, and Lemonade. Let's continue to make passionate Nintendo content as we climb the stairs to 300. Thank you.